let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Common Sense, the podcast. Excited to have you guys all back again today. We're excited to bring you a good show tonight. And we got Larry Gilreath here with us, man. What's going on?
Hey, great days. Doing well.
Yeah.
Enjoying life. Ready
That's
to
awesome,
smoke.
man. Yeah, ready to smoke, man. I've been waiting for this all day. I was like, man, this is 2 weeks in a row. I got cigar guys on here. We're going to be able to smoke and chop it up. Like, that's always my favorite.
I love it.
You know, sometimes we get people that are wanting the experience.
Right.
And, you know, like, don't have already a background in cigars, and that's a whole different ball game when you're trying to introduce them.
Right.
They want to look right doing it, you know, not trying to choke on them. Or sometimes we even have guests that don't smoke. So, man, it's always my favorite. So for those that don't know who Larry is or Herf Harmony, give everybody a little bit of background, where you're from, what your background is, and then we can jump right on into, you can tell us a little bit about Herf.
Yeah. So Larry Gilreath, been in IT for most of my life, actually. Started in middle school, went to a school called Computech, which was focused on computer education. So I've been kind of in computers almost my whole life. Recently, I stepped away from corporate America, and I decided I wanted to do something different. Had a major family event, and during that family time, I decided I needed a passion project. So I started with music, but then I switched over to cigars, and that passion project being just building an AI/ML model that goes out and breaks up the various components of the cigar and then makes recommendations on what I would like based on my favorite stick. And there's a longer story, we can get into it on why I decided to do that, but that's what Herf Harmony does. Herf Harmony is, it provides an individualized journey for you as a smoker, so that way you don't waste time smoking bad sticks. Every stick that we recommend is based on your preference, and so when you get it, it should be something you like, and if you don't, you let us know, and we update and train the model and make it better.
That's awesome, man. So it's a subscription-based service.
Yep.
And you sign up and you start entering or answering questions, right?
Yep. I really didn't want to make it overly complex.
Yeah.
So there's a simple question. What's your favorite stick? And then what do you generally smoke? Medium, mild, bold, plain and simple. And so, as we talked earlier, you're smoking my favorite stick right now.
And this is definitely something that's, it's definitely in my top 10. And This is the Padron 1964 anniversary.
Yep.
Presidente Maduro.
Yep.
So this is a phenomenal stick. And my understanding was when we started talking about it was like, so this is what your package would look like if you signed up. It's shipped to you. This is an awesome canister package. Your cigars are all placed inside that all match whatever your profile is. And I assume that changes from month to month based on whatever is available and what you got going.
You have a humidor pack in there, a cutter as well. And then, of course, you know, some perks, stickers, coasters, things like that.
Yeah, so there you guys go. That's what that looks like. Show you these two. He saw the coasters that Shane Nivall did for us and was inspired and did some as well. These are super cool. You guys, and I mean, man, this is super awesome of you. Like, I appreciate you bringing this out. And then, he obviously knows I really like T-shirts. So
I watch.
hooked me up with a Herf T-shirt. So thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. So,
yeah.
Please,
So,
small tokens.
Before we dive full on into Herf completely, tell everybody a little bit about your background. I mean, like, were you born and raised here? Where are you from? What you did? Oh, no. I already saw where his dad was from when I was trying to find him on Facebook. When you suggested him, I was like,
he ain't from around here.
Another damn Husker.
Damn right.
So, truth, only half of my life was spent being a Husker. I was actually born in Lincoln, Nebraska. My parents divorced at 5, and so my mom moved her and the kids to California. So I grew up in the San Joaquin Valley, Fresno, for about 14, 15 years. And then my father, he came calling when I was 16 and said, hey, I would really like to know my son. And so I moved back 2 days before school started, my junior year of high school. And I had the determination that I'm just going to be here for a semester. I'm going back home. Because if you know what Omaha is like, It is not California.
Definitely not California.
It is not California. But I'll never forget, there was a vice principal there, Mr. Mr. Hayes. And he was the first person to tell me, hey, you have enough credits. You've passed enough of the standardized exams that you can actually graduate this year. You don't need to come back for a senior year. And that's when I was like, okay, I guess I'm staying. Let's get out of this high school thing.
Yeah.
But I ended up going and actually doing my senior year just because my mom made a good point. You don't have a plan. You haven't applied for any scholarships. You don't know what schools you want to go to. You need that senior year to figure things out, which really worked out in my favor because I ended up getting a full ride academic scholarship to Creighton, which tied me to Omaha for another 4 years after that. And so I ended up getting an internship at Woodman of the World and working there after college. And so at some point, I became a Husker. And then Microsoft came calling and said, hey, we really want you, but we don't want you in Omaha. We want you in Dallas or Charlotte. I chose Dallas. I've been here now 23 years.
That's awesome. And it's my understanding, too, you did some time with Amazon as well, right?
Yep. So I did 11, almost 12 full years at Microsoft, and I would have hit 12 years at Amazon this October, but I left back in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you do with Amazon?
Yeah, a lot. So Amazon has a division that's called Amazon Web Services, and they're the largest cloud player in the world right now. And so when I joined, in 2012, it was just really in its infancy. We would show up I'll never forget showing up at ExxonMobil and the guys looking at me and saying, why is a bookseller wanting to talk about infrastructure? They're like, we have this thing called cloud. Have you heard of it? They're like, no, not at all. What is it? And over the years, it progressed. During my time there, I did a lot. So my background's always been in cybersecurity. So I was a solution architect for most of my time there. In Texas, I was the second solution architect ever hired. And so I covered all of Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana. And then I finally got the opportunity to move into a security SA role. So I did that for years. I got to work on some really, really cool projects. We could talk about off camera, like really cool stuff. And then I was tapped on the shoulder to be a leader. So come lead a team. I did that. I enjoyed it for a little while, but I'm a builder at heart. And so I got to a point where I said, I got to go build something. And so I transitioned from being a leader back to being a security SA just so I can be responsible for me. And I built some even cooler crap, like security related crap.
Yeah.
But then another leader came to me and said, hey, look, everyone's looking towards you. You're the de facto leader. They don't respect the manager. They respect you more. Why don't you just lead the team? And at that point, I cared enough about the folks that were around me because they were my teammates.
Yeah.
To say, you know what, if me being the leader reduces attrition, I'll do it. And so from there, I kind of rode the leadership track for a few years. I ended my time there as a global director over solution architects. I had roughly about 217 to 220 people, depending on the day, spread across 42 countries, all building unique industry solutions in conjunction with partners. So building, things as complex as the industrial Internet of Things and things as simple as toaster ovens that alert you when the toast is done. All of that running on the cloud backend.
That's really cool, man. So what you mentioned a family event that gave you a change of perspective or whatever and said, I need to go do a passion project or find something that just, gets me excited again.
Yeah.
I'm curious, just because I have a music passion project going that I'm working on. What was the music passion project that you got going down?
So I love music. In fact, during the pandemic, I took classes with my youngest son to DJ, and I've been DJing ever since then. Probably need to do it more often so I can get to Busy's level, but I'm doing it.
I feel like you're ready to battle him already, man. I want to see this. Omaha versus Omaha. Let's go.
I will get slaughtered, but I will love every minute of the ass whooping.
Just put a little bit of Taylor Swift in there.
We already we DJ together. He's being humble. We already DJ together. We Batman and Robin a lot of situations at different spots.
But
so
he's Batman.
He's straight.
He's Batman. Definitely Batman.
Man, the R&B game, he kills me, and I've been doing this a
He's
lot
Mr.
longer.
Miyagi now, man. If you follow Biz, I gotta give him some props because these posts he's been putting out, man, you're inspiring me. I'm like, shit, I need to get my shit together and like be posting more.
Come on in, man. The water's fine.
I know.
Yeah.
I need to just jump back in because I have not been doing a good job of that. About as good as we have been about putting up shorts.
We're gonna change that. We'll talk off brand, but shorts are coming back to common sense in a big way because we're gonna switch providers of the shorts.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
getting out of that. But anyway, back to Herf Harmony.
Well, I do want to say his posts, I absolutely love them because they're rooted in experience.
We just talking about that. We just talked about that.
Everything he's spewing out in these latest posts, you can look and say, yep, he went through that. This is experience talking. That's the most valuable advice.
I just got goosebumps. I was about to say this. What I think, if anything good out of recent events, and I know Michael's looking down on him, super fucking proud of him right now because I know Michael, just like me, was one of the biggest people in Business Corner telling him like, yo, quit talking about it. Start fucking doing it.
That boy got my ass every
Get after
day.
it, man. Like, what are you waiting on? Like, start doing this. Like, get some of your stuff out there, man. Because, and I'm proud of him, and I'm also like really excited about what he's putting out because that's the Biz I know.
Yep.
When Biz and I are sitting around smoking a cigar and stuff, those are the things we talk about. Those are the things that he expresses. Or, hey, man, I was thinking about this today, and like, what do you think about this?
See, those need to be the podcasts. Just set a damn camera up and forget it's there because when you're just even you and I, when we're just in conversation in his backyard or whatever, that's where the jewels are because it's relatability because everybody thinks they're the only one.
Yeah.
And then the conversation gets like, you too? I did not know. What can I grab? It's just... It's the natural thing. And I think social media and all this and podcasts being there now went from nobody did it to everybody's doing it. But the overproduced, overdone thing is more like a car sales commercial versus natural, good old conversation. And people are looking for organic versus overproduced. And that's just what this is.
Hey, I will say this to everyone watching and listening. If you recently took something from idea to tangible in motion, I'm proud of you as well.
Just do it.
Because the reality is there's a lot of us who watch social media who see what other people are doing who have great ideas. Some of these ideas, I swear, while you were asleep, God whispered them in your ear, and we never actually executed them. And so if you've done that recently, I'm proud of you. You're hearing it from me. I don't even know you. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's a life-altering event or, just anything, like the fact that whatever it is that inspires you, when you actually take action and start doing it and it's true and genuine and like that's kind of like what you're supposed to be doing or whatever, things just click. Because like Biz and I were talking about that before the show and I was like, dude, your post today, I mean, I added it to my story. I was like, this is dope. Like, I really enjoyed like what he's putting out there. Like, it's cool.
Two people hit me when I talked about Ikage. Kaya that used to be a member here and a couple other people hit me and they practice it. They actually have it on their board. They do it and everything. I just discovered it yesterday and I wrote it in my thing. I'm like, shit, I'm really late to the party. But that's just it. You strike a chord. So many other people are playing that same guitar.
Yeah, absolutely.
This man right here showed me something I never done before. So remember when y'all talk shit about me because I went on a deep sea fishing trip and I caught that little bitty ass fish? I was so proud of that damn fish, though. I was with him. That's the first time he took me deep sea fishing. We was down in the Florida Keys, and I fought that sucker like Moby Dick, and I pulled that little. Matter of fact, I pulled it out, and didn't the bird eat it? Yeah. The seagulls came and got it because it looked like chum. I was so proud of my little ass fish, man.
Hilarious, though. The fight with the seagull to get it back, though.
That because he got caught. He got caught in the line. Yeah, man. So anyway, one thing that I'll say Larry taught me because they do an annual trip. and I had just started getting on it. Being that we're from Nebraska, we call it the F the snow trip because, of course, Thanksgiving in Nebraska, it's going to start snowing. So the week after Thanksgiving, get the crew together, you take a fellas trip somewhere, and it's ironic that half the crew ended up moving to Dallas. Yeah. So we're all here, and he said, hey, let's do the F the snow trip. I said, what's that? And the best thing in the world, a fellas trip. Now, you know how Cool Beans is. She said, who the hell you going on a fellas trip with? I said LG and blah, blah, blah. If you shoot
that out of my nose, I'd have been pissed.
You going LG? Yeah, bye. See you later. So now every year, so when y'all going on your trip, I'm like, well, shit. We could get, yeah. I remember she called me one morning on the second fellas. Was that the same one?
Yeah.
Man, we all the brothers is at the table eating breakfast. She's on FaceTime like, hey. She's like, wow, y'all really communion. I said, yeah, this is what we do. Y'all always think we up to no good. No, actually, fellas, iron sharpens iron. When you can actually get away from your normal space and sit down and y'all can actually throw some things on the table and get into it and ain't got no distractions. Oh, I tell everybody, the week after Thanksgiving, fellas, take it. Well, we do get snow here. Just call it F the cold trip.
Well,
and go somewhere.
The reality is, and we started calling it, we can swear, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I've seen others. Yeah.
You can say fuck the snow.
We call it the fuck snow trip.
Yeah.
And the reason we started calling that is because that week after Thanksgiving, usually 80% of the U.S. is below freezing.
Yeah.
And so we go to a Caribbean island and let our parents and family and loved ones deal with that because we've done what we're supposed to do. We have pulled off Thanksgiving. We did the cooking.
Amen.
We cleaned the house so family could come in. We got family back on the road so they can get home safely. And now we're out. This is our only time to do it because when we get back from fuck snow, we got to get in Christmas mode.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Come on, G. You can go.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, and you know what? I mean, we talk about this a lot too, but also picking the right guys to go do a trip like that with. Like, I think people don't, this goes back to almost that old adage of birds of a feather flock together. Mm-hmm. Like if you're flying with birds that aren't doing the things you want to do or challenging you or pushing you to grow and helping you and being positive like that, you're in the wrong group. Like go find some new friends. Go, just because that's been your MO, it doesn't have to continue to be, and people I think people get so caught up in the fact that they don't feel like they should ever outgrow people. And it happens all the time. And like, they don't want to acknowledge it or like just go on a little bit. Like you can still be cool with them, but that don't mean you got to be giving them all your time.
Yep.
Pick people that are like helping you and pushing you and making you grow. Like, I don't know. I think that's one of the biggest changes I've made in a lot of areas of my life that I'm super grateful for. And I'm trying to put myself in rooms that really, truly almost make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because those are the conversations I need to be having. That's the things I need to be hearing and learning and figuring out like, all right, how's this dude doing what he's doing? Like, because I'm obviously not doing everything right. Like, like one foot in front of the other, like, all right, get your health in check. Get back in the gym. Get your things right. And then if your finances are lacking, learn some more about that. Find somebody that's doing what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're true and your intentions are good, 9 out of 10 people are really willing to like, all right, man. Like, yeah, I was there once. Like, let me break this down for you. Let me show you. Let me show you the ropes. Matter of fact, you want to come mentor me, or hey, come watch this thing. I'll show you.
Yep. I'll tell you the thing that I learned that first fuck snow trip. There's a day one is all about vulnerability, and no one comes in saying, "Hey, day one, I'm going to be vulnerable," but you're in a new place. There's usually 1 or 2 guys that you probably don't know.
Yeah,
there's just a chain of people and so there's usually 1 or 2 guys you don't know. We don't actually do a fuck snow trip where we say, all right, we're all going to lock hands and go everywhere together. We do a fuck snow trip where we're like, okay, everybody's made it safely. All right, let's sit down. Let's have a drink. Okay. Tonight, 7:00, we're going to meet here for dinner. Y'all have fun. I'm out. And so that gets you to a point now where you're like, okay, I have a moment to reflect on my own in a place I don't know of with some people I don't know. And now what does that actually trigger? Well, it triggers conversations that are far beyond what we normally would talk about in our home space. It triggers conversations of, it's great to be here because let me tell you, back home, I can't do this, this, or this because wife or kids. And you got other guys who are like, man, me too. And it triggers a conversation about some of the struggles we have that we feel like we have to swallow up and eat. And for that short period of time of the Fuck Snow trip, we don't have to.
Yeah.
And we get to share. And once you get that vulnerable piece out, then you can start talking about the sky, the pie in the sky, great ideas, things that we can execute on together, some that we may execute separate. And then you'll see certain brothers will go out and do their own thing. Like, was it St. Martin? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we booked, what was it, a distillery tour.
Yes.
And so
yes.
I told the fellas we were at breakfast.
What, they make custom Shirley Temples? Is that why Biz signed up?
Here he go.
And so I remember waking up and I told Biz and some of the other fellas, I'm like, hey man, I don't know what y'all have going on today, but I booked this distillery tour, 2:00. If y'all want to come through.
Yeah.
And so when I get there, half of them were all there, and then the other half showed up late. And it was just one of those things of, hey, I thought we were going to be locking hands and doing everything together. And it's that moment of saying, you're a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
Why do you want to do everything with me? I get it, because when you're home, you got to make decisions of what you want to do based on the kids' activities, their calendar, what wifey has to do, can you get dinner done, when work's done. I said, but here, you get to do what the hell you want. And if it sounds good, much like this distillery tour, we'll jump in and do it with you.
Yeah.
Enjoy this freedom.
Yeah.
And
some of us didn't know how to act. Like, shit,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Well, that's like when we take any type of family vacation. I mean, like, this is kind of how Sarah and I do it typically. I know I've talked about this before, but it's the same kind of thing. If you're going, even if it's a family trip, like, and, obviously I'm not talking about kids. I don't have kids. So
you should have some.
even family trips.
You can borrow mine.
Have some. It's a good idea.
borrow
I'll
mine.
follow Jesse and Oliver and I'll go, that's not a good idea.
Just solely based on the misery loves company principle.
Yeah.
You should have some.
I'll give you a couple.
So, I mean, when we do a lot of family trips, there's, part of the family, they want to do everything together. And they want you to be at this, and this on all these times. No, when I'm on vacation, that is where the schedule and itinerary go completely out the damn window. I will agree to possibly meet you for breakfast if you're a breakfast person, because I'm a breakfast person and my wife is not. So she's going to stay in bed. She'll get up when she's ready. She might come down for brunch, but she ain't going to be there for breakfast. Now, the one thing we will all agree on is, cool, these nights we're all going to break bread and have dinner together.
Yep.
So this night we're going to do this restaurant, blah, 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 blah. That's what we line out. Everything else is kind of like, all right, well, we want to do these things. We're going to do these things. If you come along, great. If you don't, that's on you. I don't care. You want a pool day, you want to read your book, you want to go for a hike, whatever it is you want to do, you go do it.
Yep.
And that's the way it sounds like y'all kind of set up this trip too. It's kind of like, hey, we're going to plan out these dinners. This is where we all break bread together. Outside of that, everybody can kind of tell everybody what they're doing or what their plan is. And if others want to join, great. If not, nobody cares.
But and it's great because you get moments where I was on jet skis. And Biz texts me like, hey, man, we're over here at this beachfront eating lunch, and it is just packed. It's the spot to be. Shit. Pull over the jet ski. Listen, I'm going to go over there now and hang out. And there's moments where, he'll hit me like, man, we just did this. It was whack. What are you doing? Man, I'm up here hiking on the Forbidden Island over in St. Martin. You guys should catch the ferry and come over here and do that. Like, you had that flexibility.
I went over to the thing where idiots stand in front of the runway and watch jets take off in your face.
Oh, but it's so cool,
you can almost touch the landing gear as they're coming down. Like, hey, I was the first one. I wouldn't go do that because, I seen it on social media.
Yeah.
But it was, like you said, it is the point in fact of, it took me a minute to get, because like when me and my wife, like our last two vacations, it kind of took her some time to get used to it because I said, hey, we came here. Because you ever have to take a vacation from your vacation?
Yeah.
You come back a couple of days early to take a decompression because you did so much shit. Yeah. I'm like, nah, let's go. We went on a couple excursions otherwise every day. And the ocean was kind of messed up because where we were in Mexico, the seaweed and all that stuff was really bad because of a hurricane or whatever happened. But the pool, chill, read books, And it bothered her because she's like, well, shit, I can do this at home. I said, but you're not at home. You're not at home.
Yeah.
At home, nobody's bringing the margaritas.
Yeah, exactly. We can read. So just taking in that you don't always have to be doing something. And normally
And you
it's
can
me.
leave all your shit here and someone's going to come clean it up.
Yes.
It's a vacation. All right, so music.
Yeah.
There are, by some counts, they estimate a little over 1,200 songs to get released every Friday. And so I love music, absolutely love it. And I have, I grew up in that tape to CD to Napster age. So I got terabytes of MP3s.
Oh, you mean you weren't like an 8-track guy like Biz?
No. Early as a kid, Biz is older than me. Like, I know what an 8-track is.
You too?
I never had one in a car. I think Biz does.
Did you have that big cell phone pack with a satellite dish on the back of your car?
Yeah, I had the little pigtail curly antenna on the back of my Honda Accord.
Oh, wow.
Keep it moving, fellas. Keep it moving.
No, my first car, we had that big ass binder, looked like an encyclopedia full of CDs.
Yeah.
Where you'd be flipping it while you
100
drive.
CDs.
Like, where's that Tupac CD?
Yep. Had the cover behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Who done messed them up? They supposed to be in alphabetical order.
You can grab them without looking. You know exactly what. Three page left corner, got it.
Got it. But what I decided is all this new music that comes out, some of it I'm probably going to like. And so I took my music library that I'd already just rated years over years. Here's a 4-star. Here's a 5-star song. Here's this artist I really like. And so I built a narrow predictive model that said, okay, I know what you like. I can go out to Tidal via APIs and the Serato API. I can get the tempo of it, so the beats per minute. I can tell what type of artist it is. I can give you some details around the song in and of itself. And then I can predict what songs you should go listen to. And so it's the same thing that Tidal and Spotify does, but I built it just as a passion project to keep my mind off of the family stuff.
Damn. I need that. I need that. Yeah, we're going to talk more about that later. I'm going to tell you about my music project too. That's cool, man. So let's go back to cigars.
Is this the music project you're still fighting legal?
Yeah.
I got a good lawyer.
Trademark shit.
I got a good lawyer.
I'm not fighting. I had to make some changes because lo and behold, the name that I'd been sitting on, this idea started for me when I was like 18, 19 years old.
Okay.
It's morphed into many different things to what it is now. And I had set on the name of this forever. I don't know where I got the name, whatever. Obviously, it was some weird thing in the back of my brain because I remember the songs on these albums. I didn't realize there was 2 of them, and I didn't realize this would be a big deal. But Sister Hazel named an album the exact thing that I was trying. It was before the amplifiers with Sister Hazel. And I was trying to call my thing before the amplifiers. And when I sent it off for trademarks after already buying the web domain, paying for logo work to be done, I sent it off for trademark. An attorney within 2 quick little searches goes, yeah, you don't want to do this. Because if that's successful, Sister Hazel's going to sue you, and you're going to be in an IPO lawsuit. They will win, and it'll cost you a ton, and you're giving up a piece of this pie right out the gate.
Drop the S.
Yeah. So we had to go back to the table, rework all this. It's now submitted again. I was just telling Biz, I got to write another check next week for this round 2. And, hopefully that passes by and we get going down the road some more.
Good.
So yeah, that's kind of where my music project's at. Yeah, I mean, everything else is pretty much ready to go. But apparently I need to talk to you because you probably have some great ideas on how to make one of the other pieces of it work, considering your IT background.
Awesome.
So
I took that predictive model I did for music, and my youngest son decided he wanted to go to Wichita State. So
Shaka.
He's a shocker. We drive up to Wichita State our first time just to drop him off. You know how incoming freshmen, they have all the early activities. I go to a cigar lounge. One of 2, I believe, in all of Wichita. And
that's one place you could never talk me to going back to. I mean, maybe if you were like, my son's a stud, he's playing on the baseball team, ride with me to go watch this baseball game. I might do that, but I ain't staying in Wichita
At all.
I'm not hanging out in Wichita. I'm going to the game, and I'm going
just know
somewhere
that
else.
Wichita is a halfway point to Omaha.
That's it. That's it. We stop there to fill up and keep going.
And keep it moving. That's all I know about Wichita.
I hate Wichita so much, I'm telling you, I would be filling up ahead of time and find another place down the road and top my gas tank off so I can make it all the way to Omaha. I'm not stopping at city. I ain't had my ass beat in one singular spot more times in my life than Wichita, Kansas. Wichita, Kansas was the worst 3 years of my life. I absolutely hate that city. Service? But we can keep going. No, my dad worked for the, back then it was the RTC, and then he went on to the FDIC. So, yeah, my dad was there shutting down defunct bars, restaurants, anything the bank took back over. Yeah.
So, I walk into a cigar lounge, great environment, everyone's friendly, and the guy's like, hey, we got a really small humidor that can only fit one, maybe two people. What do you like to smoke? And I'll go in and get it for you. Cool. Padron, 1964 Presidente Anniversary Maduro. We don't have any Padrons. Excuse me? Well, can you bring me something that is like a Padron? Oh, there's nothing like a Padron. I looked him right in the eye and said, challenge accepted. And that's when I started learning about how cigars are made, what brings the flavors, and I fed it into that narrow predictive model that I built for music to say, okay, he doesn't think there's anything like a Padron. I disagree. There has to be something, because there's only so many components coming out of so many locations. Let's feed it in. Let's have the model do some predictions for me of what would be like a Padron, and then I'll taste it, try it, and see how it goes. That's why I gave you that Padron 1964, because
This is a great cigar.
I think you'd be surprised that Cohiba Black, despite the wrapper coming from a different location, has similar spices and the exact same filler. And so after you smoke that about halfway, we'll like the Cohiba Black, you'll see some subtle differences. But if you go somewhere and they don't have Padrones, you can do that Cohiba Black instead. And probably wouldn't even notice.
That's cool, man. So where did your cigar journey start? Because that doesn't sound like you walked in there and that was your first cigar thing. Where did the cigar journey start for you?
Pandemic.
All right.
So I'm an introvert by nature, right? And so I was okay being home for about 15 days. Day 16, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. Oh, and I love my family, but it was, you say one more thing to me, I'm going to lose it. Let me be alone. I want to be alone. And so a buddy of mine pinged me and said, hey, what are you doing? Sitting on the couch like the whole damn world. What do you think I'm doing? He's like, cigar lounges are open. You want to come smoke a stick? I'm like, man, I don't really smoke cigars. He's like, but they're open. I'm coming.
Yeah. Let's see what this is about.
So I come, and the first few times I just sat there and I had a drink. And
So was ICC your first?
no, it was actually CI.
All right.
I had a drink, and then eventually he handed me a Padron 1964, a Padron 1964 Presidente Maduro, and said, try this. Guarantee you like it. First cigar I've ever smoked. Loved it. I only smoked that cigar for the first 2 years. That was the only stick I bought. And so that's how it started. And, because of the Wichita situation, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to branch out and try other cigars now, other things that I might like. But yeah, the cigar lounge kind of saved me because I had gotten to a point where I was really at my wit's end, and I just needed to get out of my house.
I can 1,000% relate to that. Like, I'm a social person and I got to have interaction. And with my job, I was deemed an essential worker.
Oh,
so I was able to get out, but like everybody was weird. It was still weird. It wasn't comfortable, all that. But man, feeling your skin crawl, and it's like, man, I love my home. I love my wife. I love my house. Like being around my dog. But like when you confine me and tell me I can't, like, all right, challenge accepted. Like, I'm ready to go. And unfortunately, I had a lot of other things going on in my family that restricted that even further, because then I'm putting other people at jeopardy. It can't just be what Garrett wants to do. And all right, cool, you're losing your mind. Well, guess what? Lose your mind, because otherwise, in too many unknowns, you're putting other people in your family at risk or preventing them from being able to do things that they need to do. You know, we had like 3 people between our collective families going through cancer during COVID. Like, that sucks. Like, you know, whether I wanted to do things or not want to do things, like, that choice is kind of made. Like, no matter how I felt about certain things, like, I can't argue with those basic principles because there's nothing to back up my side at this point of that story. I mean, I still think it's funny as hell watching people wear masks in their car and stuff like that. It's like, oh, you can smell that popcorn? Well, you know, the particle for COVID is like way smaller than that popcorn smell, and you can smell popcorn. So I'm sure that mask is working really good for you.
I'll tell you, I had family members in the same situation, not necessarily cancer, but other illnesses. That if I went out in public and potentially contracted COVID, would put them at greater risk.
Yeah.
I got to a point where I was like, what's the window of opportunity? If I go out today, how many days will I have to stay away from you before I can come back near you?
Yeah.
Originally, that felt like a tough decision, but as we started sitting around longer and longer, that decision of one day at the cigar lounge means 4 days I can't be near you, it seems less risky at that point.
Yeah.
Like, so in 4 days, if I'm not displaying any symptoms, I'm okay. All right, well, I'm going to go smoke and I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, but not everybody has common sense, so that's why we have to do this show. So you create this AI model. Like, I'm going to switch to the other one in a second because I want to see how this AI model works, because I don't know that I've actually smoked a Cohiba Black. I've smoked a lot of Cohiba, but I don't think I've smoked a Cohiba Black. So I'm really good at doing blind taste testings with bourbon and tequila and stuff like that, but not cigars. I don't normally compare one side to side, but I like where you're going with this. There's another person doing something, says they're going to do something similar with another component, which I think is really interesting and would be cool, but on how you blend or pick a cigar blend to pair with things, or how you just pair it. I mean, I think you took step number 1. You like X cigar. I don't know a whole lot. How do I find other cigars that I like when I walk into a humidor, like even say CI? I mean, that humidor is effing massive. I mean, you wouldn't know where to start or stop. And let's be honest, CI is not real great about coming and offering you customer service and helping you find a stick. They're sitting behind the desk and they care less. They're ready to check you out when you're ready to check out, and you go on about your business. You come into industrial cigars, they're going to be all over you.
Yep.
But that can be intimidating and a lot too sometimes if you really don't know. Yep. I mean, I still, as far along this journey as I am, I now fully understand wrapper, binder, fillers, and now I'm really trying to get all the like sizes and shapes down, but I don't feel like that's that important to know, because most of that is preference to me of whether you like this size or this shape. Like, but I also learned that a lot of them, it changes the flavor profile, so you can't completely disregard it. But as far as you being worried about, you know, whether you know what a Toro is or, you know, if you pick it, you don't really have to know that. It's more like you have to know what you like and at least be able to put some kind of words to it of why it is you like it. If you can do that, an educated person that knows more than you can direct you and push you in certain directions.
I want to agree with you, Garrett.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to agree with me. We can still be friends. That's what the world's forgot today.
Exactly.
We can completely disagree and still be cool.
I don't completely disagree with your statement. I think the majority of people smoke a label. And
Yeah.
I like this label. And I think a lot of tobacconists will actually say, well, if you like that label, here's another one with that same label. A little different than what you smoked yesterday, but it's the same label. Go be happy.
Yeah.
What building this model and building Herf Harmony really forced me to do is to really get a greater understanding of, okay, what are those components that actually impact the flavor?
Mm-hmm.
And so while we can say, the size of the stick doesn't matter.
It does. No, it does matter.
It actually does, because the way they actually, if it's long filler, the way they lay out the filler, the Ligero versus the Seco.
Hold on, though. I don't want to totally shut you off on this, but I think my point was, if you know you like a Lancero, it doesn't matter that you know what all the other ones are.
Right.
You can still go find other Lanceros and smoke a Lancero. You don't have to know a torpedo, a box press, all these other different things. But if you know that what you did like is a box press, all right, cool. That helps you narrow things down. I'm saying it's not important to be able to speak fluent cigar on all the shapes and sizes. When you're starting out.
That's fair. I think, even when you're starting out, I think there's a couple of key things that if you know, you'll have a better cigar journey.
Okay.
So let's say you like Lancero, but you end up smoking one that you feel like this is just too light.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would say, oh, well, you just need to go to a darker wrapper. That's all. Well, the reality is you could probably stay with that same Lancero Connecticut wrapper, but in a longer length, because that longer length is going to have more of the Ligero in the filler, so it'll have a similar taste, but just a little stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have a wrapper that's let's say it's a 7-inch cigar, longer cigar, and you feel like this is too strong. Well, you might be able to actually take that same cigar and go with the shorter, because when you go shorter, you end up drawing a consistent pull of the tobacco longer, and so it ends up feeling like it's not as strong as you get through the first few puffs. The thing with the longer cigar is the actual tobacco or the smoke that hits your palate is cooler by the time it hits you, because you're drawing it from the front all the way to the back. You go with a shorter cigar, the temperature of that smoke that hits you is going to be consistent. And so you can taste it off the first draw and say, yep, this is what I want. It's going to be more consistent throughout the whole thing. Whereas a longer cigar, it's going to get stronger towards the end. And so when I was playing with the model, and people were like, yeah, I thought I liked this one, but it got funky towards the end, I would tell them, do that same wrapper, filler, binder, but in a shorter version. I bet you'll love it. And so I think knowing some of those little small nuances actually could help a novice smoker navigate some of their selection.
I agree with you. I think a lot of people get caught up in like knowing all the terminology.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, because everybody's trying to do something new and inventive, because cigars are hot right now.
Yeah.
It's become a new fashionable thing again to know about cigars, to enjoy fine cigars. And people just like you get people caught up with it, like, well, I want to smoke Cuban. Man, I bet you I can name 100 cigars and give you whatever Cuban you think is the best Cuban, and I bet you if I blinded you, you're going to pick 80 of those other cigars over that Cuban.
Yes, but it's worse than that, Garrett. I took advantage of a few friends. We're all smoking. They all are smoking their current stick. They lay out their next stick. I swapped wrappers. Waited till they lit it up. I'm like, what you think of that? Oh, I smoke these all the time. It's the same. It's the same. It's no different. I'm like, nah, I swapped the wrapper. I swapped the label. You're actually smoking what he was going to smoke. No, really? Like, yeah. I can't tell the difference. Yeah, I didn't think you could. I didn't think you could. And I don't think most people really take time to recognize the difference.
I think it also takes time it's just like spirits or anything else. Like, it takes time to develop a palate and to know why you like or dislike something.
That's fair.
Like, you don't instantly come in smoking cigars and know how to retrohale. Even if you know how to retrohale, you could have a fucked up nose like me and that not work great. I mean, it helps me. It doesn't, prohibit me from doing that. But do I get the same thing you do? No, I've had 2 reconstructive surgeries. Like, I guarantee my nose does not pick up the same things that yours does. And that's how this works. So I think people just need to be open to, don't get caught up on all the just like, and this is like the worst example in the world because he just handed me a Cohiba. Everybody, if you don't smoke cigars and I ask you to name one cigar, that's probably the 98% answer you're going to get is everybody's heard of a Cohiba or a Romeo and Juliet. It's one of those two is like the most common names. That's like, you've never seen shoes in your life, and I say, name a shoe brand. You're going to say Nike.
Well,
like, I
don't know. Let me have a black moment. I think, depending on where you're asking, you might hear Swisher Sweets and Black and Mild.
Oh, Garrett know about that. Garrett know about that.
That's true too.
Let me get that grape swisher over there.
That grape swisher.
That grape swisher. But he's right though. When I've been like, I've had people really think that they're doing something with the swisher. Or it's a cigar, and it's like,
I get that.
It's not a premium cigar, and they call those cigars or cigarellos, but they're not premium cigars. But I think because they are machine produced, they're mass produced, they have short filler, so it's easy to make them. I think a lot of people are aware of them.
Well, let me ask both of you this question. You guys are a little bit affluent over there. And what would you say you've both seen, because knowing both of you very well, you've been in different cigar atmospheres. So, yes, we do brag about it, and we say it's the great equalizer. It brings everybody together from all kind of backgrounds and this and that. But what have you noticed when you've gone to a snobby, really upscale cigar lounge versus something more commonplace like CI? Or something like that. The differences in the characters, because I like to people watch.
Yeah.
So what's been your take on the different environments where a cigar lives?
Yeah.
Do you have to take that in mind when you when you build a box? I know it's based off of palate, but have you guys ever thought about the social build of the whole thing? Lounges where if you go to, what can I say? Example here, CI. Cigar International, if y'all didn't know, versus going to, what's an uppity cigar lounge around here?
Red Phone Booth.
Red Phone Booth. Oh, yeah, because you got restrictions and all that.
Yeah,
and Garrett loves Red Phone Booth.
Do you?
Hell no.
No.
And he literally, he could jump his back fence.
I'm surprised I'm not
there.
getting shit about my sweatpants, my joggers. Yes, they're Lululemon. Fuck off. I don't care. It's my show. I wear what I want.
Are they comfortable?
As hell.
How about to say, are they comfortable?
Yeah.
Did you
So
buy
my
them?
wife was actually
Shit.
making fun of me when I went out. She's like, "You're wearing that to be on your show?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm wearing this. I feel good. Like I'm cool. Like I'm going to hang out, smoke cigars
casual
with
chic.
with a guy that's actually wants to smoke cigars. Like I'm cool. I'm in."
Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on, Garrett, because you took your first puff. First puff. What's your thought?
It's very close. This is earthier to me than a Padron 1964.
Yep.
So the profile's not far off. They're close.
Now,
I think this. How do I want to say this? If I just ate a filet mignon and my wife ordered the ribeye, if I'm taking bites and going back and forth, like I want to smoke this with the ribeye and I want to smoke this with the filet mignon.
Yep.
Like they're super comparable. this wrapper, the Cohiba Black's a little darker
Yep.
than the Padron.
Yep.
This actually smokes a little lighter than this. Very similar, but this is earthier.
Yep. So one of the things you'll get with the Padron is the Padron is consistent. First puff all the way to the last. The Cohiba Black builds. And it's just because of the way they actually do the filler in and of itself. They have a tendency to actually kind of front in a lot of Seco in their filler and then use fatter leaves towards the middle and end of the cigar of Ligero. And so you'll find, that's why I wanted to catch your first puff.
Yeah.
You'll find as you puff more of it, it's going to start tasting more and more like that Padron.
I can see that. I mean, I totally get why this is paired together. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, and this is box pressed. This was much shorter starting out. Mm-hmm. Not much, a little bit. I'm going to say like a half an inch shorter. This is a thicker ring gauge.
Yep.
This is like more like a Liga 9 size. I mean, they're completely different. But I like your AI model.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah. I mean, because I kind of have a thing of just not buying Cohibas because there's so many fakes. And but honestly, this is what got me started smoking cigars was Cohiba. Really? Oh. It was vacationing on an island. I want to smoke a cigar, go hang out on the pier or down at the ocean, and I want to relax for a little bit. And I want to like figure out what this is about. Like, why do people really like
a Cohiba?
Grabbing a Cohiba? Right. And this is a vacation thing. This is going to make me relax. And at the time I'd been a long time dipper, smoked cigarettes off and on at the time. And it was just like, I want to know a little more about the cigar thing. And like my first cigar was a Cohiba. So it's interesting that what you put into the algorithm or how you fed that pairs these two because they're completely different. So if this was what I paired, what else would be paired in that canister?
So there's one more. And so the monthly box, you get 4 cigars.
All right, monthly box. And how much is the monthly subscription for those that want to know?
Ranges between 45 to 50.
45 to 50. Okay.
Now,
I think that depends on what you put in because obviously different likings are going to cost different monies.
Well, actually, that's not true. I have 2 offerings. One offering is called the Let's Smoke Together. Herf is in the name of the company. I want to build a sense of community. And so the $50 subscription includes a $5 upcharge because we do monthly events where members can come together, smoke cigars, and actually have Herf. And so that's the difference between the 2 prices.
Okay.
Believe it or not, this one, which has the same kind
my older brother's in Europe.
Has the same cocoa flavors, but it also has the same cedar and leather spices that the Padron does.
I randomly grabbed this cigar this is a cigar I like. I haven't smoked one of these in a long time.
Yeah.
But this is a cigar that I actually really liked. And my brother's like, whoa. My sister-in-law's from Brazil. You're smoking a Brazilian cigar? And I'm like,
in the name.
So now I don't want to smoke it anymore.
And then I always try to throw in a wild card each month. There are a lot. On average, just in Texas alone, there's close to 5 new cigars introduced every week. And so a lot of new cigar manufacturers are kind of building their recipes and their formulas off of what's popular. I get to actually get the details. Okay, what do you have in it? Where'd you get your wrapper from? Is it jalapa? Is it this? What valley? Where's your filler from? And I get to add it to my model and then say, okay, this is a wild card stick. And it's a wild card because they're new. The flavor may not be consistent, but I try to include it. And so this one, it's a great stick, man. It's a buddy of mine who's been working on his formula for a few years. It's TBL Cigars. It's called the Gentleman.
Never heard of this.
Yeah, they're new. It's not in stores, but each month you'll get that wild card. And there's a few. Last week was Dallas Cigar Fest week, And so I got to meet a few cigar manufacturers who are doing very unique cigars, and some of those will be included in boxes in the coming weeks.
That's cool, man. I like that. I like that a lot, man.
So yeah, that would be the third stick.
Okay. So what's your vision for Herf? Like where do you want to take Herf?
That's a good question. And how much of that am I willing to disclose right now? The reality is,
I mean, I'll refine my question because that's too loaded of a question. I mean, do you want this to? Because it sounds like you're trying to build a community of Herf guys that try new things constantly, don't stay with the new thing, which I like because I smoke cigars. I mean, I just grabbed bags. I mean, I got 3 bags filled with cigars right here for my trip next week.
awesome.
I grabbed different stuff and everything because these guys are 80 of these 89 guys are coming from Canada.
Oh, wow.
And they know I'm a cigar guy. Some of them have been on my show. A lot of them watch my show. I bring them stuff like, all right, y'all are not smoking Darren Chaffee principles. Y'all are not smoking the ICC house stick. Y'all are not smoking LE, Cavaliers from 2024. Y'all are not smoking Panda Dominoes. Like, I try to bring things and be like, all right, I'm going to share a stick with you. Like, we're playing the round together today. Let's smoke a cigar together. Let's enjoy this.
Yep.
And I feel like not only did you want to create a subscription-based thing where you're helping educate people, helping them find things they like, which I think has tremendous opportunity in and of itself alone. Like you're basically a brand ambassador for all these guys, and you're not biased to any one. You're not filling shelves and having to fill a humidor. I mean, you do because you got to store your stuff to package it and everything else, but you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So you're able to take in everything and be really indifferent and just be like, all right, these are the facts. We're going to plug in the algorithm. Do you like it? Do you not? Here you go. And in doing this, you might find, if one out of those hits for you a month, you just got something new that no matter where you're at, you can find that probably on the shelf. Yeah. And even, you got wild cards in here that maybe you can only get in Texas. Well, that's a treat. Yep. But yet you still got major players in here that you ought to be able to find. But it sounds like you're also really trying to build an entire community. Like you want these guys to sit down and break bread, smoke together, hang out together, and just organically see what that happens without being tied to like you have a lounge or you have to be at this lounge or whatever. It sounds like the community thing is probably the bigger picture for you. Is that far off or?
Yes, and community thing definitely is part of the big image for me. But here's the reality. Working for a tech company for so many years, the Microsofts, the Amazons, I've always been impressed by companies who say, we're not a tech company, but we're going to use technology to make our products better. And to me, that's what I'm sitting on. Ultimately, what I would like to see Herf Harmony be, and I'm working on it, is an app. And it's an app that you put on your phone and you can say, you know what, this is my favorite stick. Herf Harmony, what do you recommend to me? And so when you walk into that humidor, here are about 6 or 7 other sticks I could possibly smoke.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to get to. Now, the community piece of it, what I'm finding is you have the ability now to say, hey, ICC, I want you to know, because of this app, I could see how many people are sitting in your actual lounge. And I could see what they're smoking because they're rating it on the app. And I don't know if you realize this, but you probably should stock more of this because people in your zip code who are at your lounge 4 hours a week actually smoke more of this than that. And I think that's a partnership that I want to have with a lot of the lounges. And then, of course, with that will come events because now we can have more meaningful conversations with cigar manufacturers when they launch new sticks. This is my stick. Here are the components. Where should I have a cut and smoke? Well, you know what? In this zip code, your stick has all the components for 80% of the smokers that smoke at this lounge or that lounge. And that's where I think the Herf becomes far more meaningful because now we're having conversations about sticks we actually love in places that may be new to us, but in a comfortable environment because when you have a good stick, it's a good experience. I think all of us have probably smoked a bad stick, and you realize how quickly, the pour of the whiskey's not right, the stick's bad. I don't even know who this person is I'm talking to. But when it's a good stick, none of that seems to matter anymore.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've totally come to the lounge, grabbed a cigar, lit it up, just really wanting to like get away from the day. You know, like have my woo-saw with my cigar.
Yeah.
Whether there was 10 people in the lounge or 2 people in the lounge, didn't really matter. Like I was coming to get away and to go off and do my thing. Well, you're absolutely right, because what if it's a bad draw? Maybe it's really a good stick, but you got that one, and I'm a draw whore. Like that shit drives me insane if I just got to keep after it. Can't. I can't set this down for what I just did, and now I'm relighting again.
Right.
Remember that? That's what I did with the one I
know.
had before we got here.
It made me think of that. You know, and that was a good cigar.
It's a good cigar,
normally
but
a go-to.
I got a bad one.
But you got a bad one, and I've literally had it be like that, and I'm like, I've tried for a third of this cigar to make this work. It's not working. Now I throw it out. Now I'm kind of pissed off. Not that I don't have a shit ton of other cigars in my locker, or I could walk in the humidor and grab another, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this ain't just what I needed right now. Maybe I'm just gonna turn around, go back home, hang out. Maybe now I'm gonna have a bourbon or something. You know, like my whole intention was I just wanted to smoke a cigar and relax for 2 hours. And kind of let things go and process my day or whatever was on my mind and go about that. But that can change in a very short amount of time. So, I mean, I think it's great. Like
changing 2 draws.
I mean, and it sounds like, you know, that's kind of what you're doing. I mean, like what you just described is kind of like what it reminds me of, like delectable with wine.
Yeah.
You know, you go in there. I don't know a whole lot about wine, but I can scan the barcode with that. It pulls it up, tells me the vintage, where it's from, whether I can get it, I can't get it, all these things. Or here's the places you could get it. Here's the average price. Here's the high-end price. Do you want to rate it? Do you want to post about it? You want to tag it? All these things. Like, that turned into a great app, man. And that was a huge tool because, like, unless you're going to dive deep off into wine, that's a whole nother world. You know, so you go out to a restaurant and, you know, let's be honest, unless you just make insane amounts of money and or know a shit ton about wine, you know your price point, you know what region or type of wine you kind of like, you scan it, you find the 3 or 4 bottles that are in that thing, and you play eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or, I know I like that one. And that's what you go with. But what if that list was like the one that I just went to at Great Cliff, which is a like world-renowned restaurant in the Bahamas. They have an amazing wine cellar that I didn't even get to see because I didn't know about the tour. But they handed us a fucking encyclopedia. This thing was this big or this thick and a book. And it even had sections, like, I mean, complete sections. I finally, like, I'd looked for cabs for, like, I don't know, 10 minutes. And I finally asked the sommelier, like, hey, man, like, dude, where are the cabs in here? He's like, oh, it's part 3, page 15 and 16. I'm like, seriously, bro? He's like, what do you like? I'm like, let's just make this easy. What's your price point? All right, cool. Here we go. May I suggest this? May I suggest that? But if you can do that with other things like a cigar, that's super cool because, like, that's a game changer when you only know, like, all right, I like J-Lore, you know, Cabernet. Well, I buy that at Costco and it's $19.99 a bottle. I'm at XYZ place in Dallas and they want $129 for a bottle of J-Lore. Well, shit, I'm not paying $129 for J-Lore. I don't care. It was my anniversary. Like, no, we're not paying 7 times the bottle for J-Lore. All right, hey, what else do you have in here? Oh, well, there's this Decoy. And if you like J-Lore, you're probably going to like Decoy. Or whatever. That's a cool tool to have in your pocket. Because, I mean, I know I relied on that for a long time. Fortunately, my wife's got some family in the wine world, so Yeah, most of the time I'm just texting Blake going, hey, yay or nay? Well, what's your budget tonight?
I love it. That's the vision first.
That's
because
cool.
because I think if I put that power in smokers' hands as well as the lounge owners' hands, then it creates a better Herf environment. They can now show up and say, hey, we know 80% of you like this stick. It's rated 4.5 on herfharmony.com. And most of you smoke it in the lounge. We just got a new shipment in. We're doing a special. We're doing a cut and light this day, drinks half off. And it allows the lounges now to actually market, I guess, more precisely to their consumers.
I can see that. I mean, I think that's a great idea. It'd be a great added feature of taking that in because it gets you just more exposure. I think, making it an app.
Yeah.
And, hey, you can pay this much for the app, or, hey, here's also our subscription fee. Here's your monthly app fee, and you get to use it as a tool, or do you also want us to send you cool shit and get wild cards and stuff? I mean, I think this is really cool because it's like you get a mystery prize every month.
That's how I feel too.
You get a mystery cigar in here. I got to pull out this thing that, shit, I know a lot about cigars, but I've never heard of that one you just told me about that's your buddy that, has been working hard to put something out. And we all, if you know about it, it's hard to bring a cigar to market.
It is.
So that shit is not easy. And everybody's trying to do it right now.
Yep.
So good luck, but if you have something like that that's putting it in your hands and getting you to try it, and it's like, I already know this fits a profile of what I like, I'm more apt to give it a shot.
Exactly.
And especially if it's being delivered to your house, you can sit on your patio, smoke it. Even if you are a label whore, you don't really care. You're going to try it. But if it's that damn good, then you're going to be the guy going back telling all your buddies, like, hey, check this out. Like, y'all are paying $30 for that stupid stick over there. This is $9.
Yep.
And, here you go. Try this out. And then you're the new cool guy in the group.
I'll tell you, early feedback, the label whores loved it. Because the opportunity to sit down at a lounge and brag about a new stick that no one else has heard of, that is freaking awesome. and then come back and say, you know what? I found 3 more. Try it. The label whores were like, I'm a king now. I literally went out and bought crown brooches because there were certain guys who were like, I need a crown. The folks at the lounge look towards me as a king now because of your box and what you're doing. I'm like, all right, well, here's a crown brooch. You should wear it then. But yeah, you become that. You become the perceived expert now.
So what did it take for you to go from I have this idea to actually doing Herf? How much time lapsed in here of I have this idea to I'm researching whatever I had to research to building it out? How much time is involved here? Because if it seems like this isn't a very long amount of time from the timelines you kind of gave earlier of quitting in March, and we're sitting here in October. That's 7 months. Yeah. And you've already created this. Yeah. So it sounds like you got this idea and you didn't sit on it for very long.
Look, coming from Amazon, I was working 16-hour days, Monday through Thursday. And so when you give that time back to me, initially, I really enjoyed it. I started a love affair with my couch. But what happens over time is when you're a builder, you're a builder. And so I got off the couch. I started doing it. And then I transferred those 16 hours a day working on Amazon stuff to 12 to 13 hours a day working on this.
And it's a passion project. So that 12 probably went by 6.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I took a leave of absence in January. So my mom had cancer really bad. And in January, I said, you know what? I need time to go spend with her. And towards the end of that leave of absence in January, I'd finished the music model. And I realized that, gosh, now that that's done, I need something else. Because if not, I'm just hanging around watching my mom slowly die. I need something to consume my time. And so probably about February is when I said, you know what, I'm going to try to do this with something else. And I started to try to do it with tennis shoes. I was like, shoes. I don't know enough about shoes. It'll force me to understand the components, da-da-da-da-da. And then when you kind of fast forward to us going, gosh, that was probably end of February, early March, to Wichita to go visit the campus. And then it's like, well, I should do it for cigars. Like, I should absolutely do it for cigars. So about mid-March is where I kind of felt like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it as a business, not just as a passion project that I sit on for years. And so that's when I went out, registered the name, started doing those things. About May is when I felt like I had something that was worth sharing. And so May is when I started just sending cigars to people. Hey, I saw you smoking this. Try this and tell me what you think. And pretty much a good portion of May, there was a lot of misses. A lot of, I don't really like that stick. What made you think I would like it? And a lot of, don't you ever recommend another stick to me again? And that forced me to go back and really dig a little deeper into the components.
But you didn't just stop there.
No, I know. I had to dig deeper. I had to understand, well, wait a minute. These sticks, the wrapper comes from the same place. The filler comes from the same place. Why don't you like it? That's where I started learning more about spices, more about, the amount of Seco leaves versus Ligera leaves in the filler, more about the various valleys where they grow the tobacco in Nicaragua, in Dominican, in Honduras, and how those valleys actually produce tobacco leaves with different flavors and different hints in it. And that's when I started getting to a point where I'm like, okay, this model is making more sense. Now I can start to play with the weights. What matters more, the wrapper or the filler? Well, okay, let's play with this weight. If I'm smoking 2 cigars, 2 different fillers, but the exact same wrapper, do they match? Do they not match? And so I got to a point where I think I shipped my first box in August. And I shipped it to a friend in D.C. And about 4 days later, she came back and said, I don't know how you did it, but you're spot on. And she said, I opened up some of those cigars. When I opened your box, I looked at the cigars, and she said, I hate this one, I like this one. She said, that was before I ever even smoked one of them. I'm like, well, why'd you hate them? She's like, because Joe smokes that one, and I hate Joe, and so I don't like Cohibas.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, but smoke them. I just sent you a box of cigars free. Smoke them. And when she came back and said, you're freaking spot on. Like, I liked all of them. They all fit my palate. They all were right in line with my favorite stick. That's when I just started sending boxes to people I knew who were really advanced smokers, who would actually be able to actually notice the differences in the spices, notice the difference between an earthy taste versus a leather taste, notice the difference between a coca taste versus a cedar taste.
Because it's funny you said that. I was just about to say that. This went from earthy to more leathery. Like,
Told you.
I mean, we're right back in this realm now. So his AI model works, at least so far through 2 sticks. I will give you that 100%.
Yeah. And so a lot of time went into it. But I also know, coming from Amazon, they have these, what they call leadership principles. And one of them is bias for action. And in that bias for action definition, it clearly says time matters. And I believe that every great idea that you have, Garrett, somebody else has that exact same idea. And it's your ability to execute, deliver, and get it to market first that gives you a head start. And so I didn't want to wait. And I figure I'm going to get it out there. I'll produce boxes where you can buy a single box instead of a subscription, and then I'll also offer subscriptions, but I need to get it out there. I need to get my head start, because with that head start, I can develop the app next. I can build tighter relationships with lounges and manufacturers so I get access to better cigars. And so I feel like I didn't rush it, but I brought an MVP, minimum viable product, to market. And since coming to the market with that MVP, we've improved quite a bit based on feedback. And so, yeah, it's about 6 months. 6 months of just hard blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of tears.
What What's
Tons
one of
of
the
tears.
What's one of the big roadblocks?
I might cry now.
What's one of the big roadblocks you hit that you're like, oh shit, this is going to be a failure? Like that it ends up turning to be a stepping stone. Maybe it sparked that, like, all right, I got to take it to this level now. Was it? I mean, that first round that went out, and they're like, this all sucks. Like, what little roadblocks have you hit that, like, you didn't stop going down the path, but that maybe turned into a stepping stone?
Yeah, and there's a laundry list of roadblocks. I keep it in my notepad of all the battles won is what I call that sheet.
I like that a lot. My battles won.
I'll tell you the first one. A lot of cigar manufacturers don't want to tell you what their formula is, and you'll get some of these lounges, some of these online stores that will just guess, like, it's a Nicaraguan wrapper. And then you look at it smoking, you're like, no, those veins don't look right for a Nicaraguan wrapper. This looks more Dominican, DR. But until you can get concrete information of what the components are, you can't accurately predict. And so my first iteration of this model was based solely on data that I was able to find about individual cigars and sticks. And it wasn't information that was completely wrong. It was more so how the various online cigar stores and lounges and humidors were marketing the stick. And because that model failed tremendously, I was like, this may not work. But then I found a few other places that were more credible. And by that, I mean, they had an online store, but people were giving feedback. Like, hey, you said this was a Connecticut wrapper. It's not. This is Cameroon. And I started to kind of scrape more of the actual consumer feedback, smoker feedback, and then mirror it with what the actual online stores were saying. And then I can kind of filter through and then say, okay, this is what this cigar really is. And then as you start doing more of that, you can actually go back to some of the manufacturers and say, hey, it's unclear to me what spices are in this cigar.
Yeah.
And every manufacturer, well, not every, but most of them have what they call their spice wheel, their flavor wheel. And they'll tell you, here are the 18 various spices we might put in our recipe. I'm not going to tell you which ones are in that particular stick, but it's one of these 18.
Okay.
And so you could start to actually
Process
decipher
elimination.
a stick. Yeah. And once you get to a point where you can taste those spices, you can actually start to detect what they are in a smoke. Like, I know that one is leather, cedar, and a tad bit of earthy, but it's completely overwhelmed by the coca that's in the wrapper. Now, the beauty of that Padron is as you get further deep down into it, that wrapper starts to level out, because now you're getting more of the Ligera long filler, and you're going to start to taste more of the leather and the earth in it. And it's a great stick because of it.
I can totally see that, because actually, initial relight that I just did, the first thing I tasted was the cocoa.
Yeah.
But as soon as I took the next draw, it was more the leathery, the cedar.
Yeah.
It went right back to there. Whereas this one's still staying in this realm, but there's an earthy component of that one that I don't love. Like, it's not but I mean, I'm comparing it to a Padron. I mean, I still really like that, and I wouldn't have smoked that otherwise. Like, that would not have been something I would have grabbed. I can see the balance, though. Like, it makes sense. Like, that's still a really good cigar. Like, it fits the profile, but what it lacks from it's almost an unfair comparison, I feel like. Like, if you want to smoke within that realm, I feel like, yeah, you nail it on the realm. But as far as and this is the thing, you can't compare cigars exactly to each other.
Bingo.
You can't compare them exactly, because no two are going to be like, even if I took the same cigar this year and then we get the one next year, there's gonna be slight variations. Yeah, that flavor wheel you just talked about, like this one might be hitting me because I really like the leather on it. I like it. The earthy part's a little lower, but the leather and the cocoa are a little bit higher. Now this one, the earthy is a little higher. The cocoa and leather are a little bit lower.
Yep.
And I'll bet it changes again when I get to about right here.
Yep.
And it'll be back in my wheelhouse again. So it makes sense, but that's one of the things I've loved picking the brains of people like Luciano and guys like that I've had on the show of, or just be the same thing as like Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And I hate Jack Daniels.
Actually.
But like Jack Daniels produces millions of bottles of Jack Daniels and they almost all taste exactly the same.
Yep.
To me, that's like wizardry because I know the process, and even though your recipe's the same, it's coming from the same farmers, same distiller, same barrels, or same type of wood barrels, same filtering process, everything. I don't care. The weather was different that year. How many times you turned the barrel? What floor was it on? What elevation was it on? All those things factor, but yet the blender is so good at what those key components are that they can keep it in that wheelhouse consistently.
Yep.
And I think that I can wrap my brain around that a little more with distilling. I'm still having a harder time with cigars just because soil conditions, location, sun exposure, rain, all these things affect it so much.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that blender is like Nostradamus. He makes this Padron 1964 taste like a Padron 1964 year in and year out. Drought, rainy season, in between, lots of cloud cover, everything. Like, that's amazing and mind-blowing to me.
It's scientific. But I'll give you. And so I had the opportunity to go to a cigar factory recently. And kind of walk through the process, and they let me actually roll one, which is a whole nother story. It was absolutely horrible. I'm not a roller. Don't ever ask me to roll a cigar again.
Yeah.
I was sucked at it. But
you rolled one of them Swisher Sweets back in the day. That's what you rolled.
It's not the same. But
times two, yes.
What Padron does is, number one, they have one of the best rating systems. There's a category of cigars, when you get out of the United States, you'll hear this term a lot more often. And it's, premium cigars, and then there's the super premium. Padron, Davidoff, some of those others fall within that super premium realm. And the reason is because they have perfected the ability to assess the actual quality of the tobacco in the leaf while it's still a hand, while it's still a grouping hanging and drying. And what Padron does is they say, you know what? We need enough to make 1 million, and then we're going to put it and store it. And we're going to produce 1 million, and that 1 million will be consistent. And when we're out of that 1 million, it'll be called the Padron 1965 Presidente, and they just up it a year because now it's going to have a different flavor, a different taste to it. Other cigar manufacturers don't put that much science and that much meticulousness into it. They say, you know what? All these leaves come out the same farm. They must all taste the same. And that's why you get variances in the flavor. Whereas Padron is a Padron is a Padron.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, see, this is already doing it again, too. I mean, yeah, his algorithm works. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to stop talking about it. Like, it works. Like, I keep going back and forth trying to, like, pick this apart, and it's damn near impossible. Especially.
Now, you asked roadblocks. I'll throw another one out there that was just huge. Finding my market. Because you would think the sophisticated cigar smoker would be my market.
Oh, I would have said exactly the opposite.
Yeah. It is exactly the opposite. It is the individuals who don't smoke often who want to learn.
You got to think about it. The sophisticated person, savant, they know what it's like.
Or they think they know.
They think they know.
They think they know, but but sometimes a little ego gets in the way too of the process. It's just like when I sold Porsches back in the day at Stan Olsen, way back in Omaha. But Porsches were the easiest car to sell. Now, we had Audi, we had Volkswagen, the Mercury. I had the hood and trunk, all them. But a Porsche, hell no. That man came in there. Whoever bought a Porsche knew exactly what the car did, what it was, sat there and
what they wanted.
So exactly, no AC, this, that. I mean, just because that is what they do. That car is studied. But a person who ain't never in their life, man, I'd love to have a Porsche. You know, my uncle just died, left me some money. What does it do?
Right.
That's different.
That's different.
You got to educate them to what it is. You know, find out where they are. Because half of them that wanted a Porsche after we got done, they didn't want a Porsche. They thought what it was, but they bought a Scirocco or something else, right. Volkswagen, even though it is a baby Porsche, but it's not what you thought that was going to be.
Exactly.
So I would see why the novice, because they want to learn. They're coming to you. Education is huge now. Opinion is huge. So that makes sense that they use this process because they want to be with the cool kids.
Yep.
So let me figure out if I'm going to be with the cool kids, at least I can enjoy this. And I think that's cool, too, because how many people do you guys know that just got introduced to cigars the wrong way? Their first cigar was straight garbage.
Me? Well, not my first, but
I was gonna say
number two anyway, through.
Yeah, right. Because the first one is just you don't know what to look for. Like, you know, even with women, I don't give them flavored cigars. You know, because they're never going to graduate out of that, and you won't really know what it's like to experience different tobaccos. All you know is blueberry, chocolate, black cotton. You know, like you can go get you a Swisher for that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
No, the closest I'll do to that is the Angelique. Like if I know,
that's cool. The Angelique is okay. You're right.
Yeah.
But that's not. That's a flavored tip.
Well,
it's not an infused
sugar
cigar.
in the wrapper.
Ah, that's true.
It's got sugar in the wrapper, so it's
sweeter. My damn A1C went up last year.
And it's a lighter cigar. So I mean that for someone that really doesn't smoke and hasn't smoked a lot. I
normally hand them, especially ladies, I do hand them that cigar.
Yeah.
First. But it's still not, it doesn't taste like you're smoking a candy bar. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, it's still a different experience.
Yeah, you're not giving them a DC blueberry.
Correct. Which is a good, even though it's good.
Which is a good cigar.
But it's
I'm not knocking it. Everybody knows I love Juwan. Like, it's a good stick, but it's blueberry.
Right.
I mean, it's same. I mean, I could have said the Byron that smells like blueberries. It doesn't taste like blueberries, but it smells like it. And if they want to smell that every time, I don't know what other stick that naturally smells like blueberries.
The Habano.
The Grand Habano?
Grand Habano. It gives you that same blueberry nuance when you first open it up.
Look, most first-time female smokers I've met, I give them a Camacho and a Connecticut wrapper because it's mild, but it gives them a sense of what it's like to still smoke a cigar. And most feel like this is good. They don't finish it because it's a long stick, but it gets them comfortable with what cigar smoking is like.
You made your AI sexist?
Oh, damn.
I'm just kidding.
Yes. But the reality is, Camacho does a really good job of kind of balancing the Ligero and Seco in the actual filler. So it's a smooth, mild, consistent taste.
Has your AI ever hallucinated?
Yeah.
What was the craziest hallucination your AI program did?
Oh, man.
I think it's funny because I'm reading about AI hallucinations. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm nerding out.
There's let me not say the cigar manufacturer. It's a local cigar manufacturer. He's new, probably less than 6-7 months. And for some reason, my AI looked at his stick and the components that he said were in his stick and said, yeah, this is right up there with the Oliva Series 5 Maduro. And I looked at it and was like, nah.
There's no way.
Nah. And his stick is incredibly mild to a point where when you smoke it, you don't even feel like you're smoking anything. And if you smoked an Oliva Series 5 Maduro, it is not mild at all.
No.
And so, but at the same time, when those recommendations come out of the model, I've smoked enough to look and say, nope, that one's wrong. That one's wrong. We're not even going to, let's go back and figure out how we screwed this up.
All right, I want to ask this question better. because you worked at Amazon and all these other cool places, what's the craziest and or funniest hallucination you've seen AI do as you're building out these things?
So there's this, I don't have to talk about company names.
Yeah.
There's this concept of a digital twin. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay. So autonomous driving is by far probably the biggest innovation we're going to have in the automotive industry. It started probably about 7 years ago, really seriously, where every auto manufacturer said, we have to figure out what our answer is going to be to autonomous driving. Well, you just can't take a car that you hope has all the right technology and put it out on the track. And so instead, you create what's called a digital twin. So it has the road, it has the car, it has everything built into an actual computer simulation. Plain and simple. And so there's enough of them in Germany. We're in Germany, we're in Munich. We've built the digital twin, and we're testing autonomous driving vehicles via the digital twin. And for some reason, the digital twin decided that curves, dogs, cats, and small children were all speed bumps. And so what?
Wow.
What does a car do when it gets to a speed bump?
Slows down, but still goes.
Slows
right
down,
over
but
it.
still goes.
Right over
And so you're initially like, "Oh, it's slowing down. Oh shit!" And I tell you, we spent probably, 60 hours in panic mode because we had to go before the board to show the progress we had made on the digital twin in relation to autonomous driving. And all we wanted it to do was just simply, it's almost in every car now, but the distance monitoring when you're on cruise control. Mm-hmm. That's how early we were in this. And the fact that it wasn't stopping, it was slowing down, but not stopping for children, curves, small animals. We couldn't go in front of the board and show this.
Yeah.
And so, we were freaking out. We were freaking out. And there's, you define the logic, you define the structure of the object, what it looks like, and you say, this is an object that you cannot drive through. Stop. And the hallucination said, nah, it's a speed bump. I'm just going to go right over it.
Does AI scare you at all?
Cyber dying.
That's a yes and no answer.
Okay.
AI itself doesn't scare me. What scares me are the people who are controlling the AI right now. Because when you have someone who is a billionaire, right? Their focus, a good portion of their life has been on making money. And so some of those individuals have a tendency to put life below dollar. And that's what concerns me. It's not autonomous vehicles, because we all know if a car hits a person in the street and the driver hops out and says, the car did it on its own, we're going to ring that car manufacturer up and down the pole and probably hang them. But you have to be mindful of where AI is showing up in other places. Just recently, we saw a huge display of AI. Part of me was proud because there were parts of it that I'm intimately familiar with, but that Iron Dome in Israel, the ability to identify this is a missile, not a large bird, not a commercial airline, and I need to actually launch a counter missile and actually hit it while it's still 3 miles above the surface. That level of AI, that's what scares me. Because
Can it become self-learning or just a mistake that it could make?
It's the mistake, because when you have people who are so focused on monetizing the technology, you get back to the challenger. And I know for us, we lived through that. Mm-hmm. There was an engineer who said, hey, look, the O-rings are leaking. But someone said, scrub the launch. That'll cost too much. Launch this bitch anyway. And I remember being in elementary school watching the Challenger explode.
Yeah.
And that's my concern with AI. It's not the AI itself. It's someone who has decided they've monetized this thing to a point that they can't afford to stop because of a bad test a bad algorithm, a bad anything,
Bad hallucination.
a bad hallucination, and they're going to let it move forward.
We haven't figured this out or why it did it yet.
Yeah.
But we're just going to push through and hope it doesn't happen
Well,
again.
two things.
That's what scares me.
I'm curious. Can AI become self-aware? I mean, it is, but do you think it can become self-aware to the point to where it can ignore any other protocols to stop it? And it goes into, just like the movies say, it goes into survival mode.
Look, could it? Sure, of course, because right now we're throwing so much data or giving it access to so much data that it's perpetually learning and it's perpetually coming up with new ideas and new things. The difference, though, is so the next generation. Right now, we're at Gen AI, where it's generating new content. The next generation of AI, which is AGI, where we actually start to allow it to fully learn. Look, you reading data, you if I put you in a room, prison cell, at the age of 5, and give you all the books you want to read, the reality is you're well read, but you're not well learned.
Because you haven't had experiences that are related to what you read.
Exactly. When you start putting AI into something that actually can have experiences, that now understands what hot actually means. It's not just a word on the internet. This is what it means to feel hot. That's when it can start becoming self-aware.
So what do you think about Elon's little army of robots that look
Neuralink.
like iRobot that came out?
Well, it's got Neuralink now, so like he's, you know, like
it's literally
they're
connected to your
letting put a
brain.
chip in a guy's brain.
Yeah.
And when he gets all that data back, and then you can let the AI learn what all that means, and then understand it and
So
apply
all this
it.
movie shit is really happening,
Yeah.
Yeah.
man.
Um,
iRobot.
I'm not afraid of the Elons and the Tesla robots because they are under scrutiny that is unmatched, just unmatched. Like
Ethical, all that stuff.
yeah, you screw up, there's so many, government officials in Congress who don't understand this stuff and are waiting for one mistake to come in and pass a law to shut it all down. I worry about China, North Korea.
Having the power and the ability to do what they finally want to do.
Yeah. The places where they'll say, this is our chance to have an advantage over the Western world. And if we got to crack a few eggs to make this perfect omelet, we're going to crack some eggs.
Did you see the last Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning?
No, I don't think I did.
What you're saying?
I don't think I did either.
That's the premise of the movie.
Yeah.
An AI entity became self-aware. Russia had their hands on it, and the AI tricked. It was in a Russian submarine. That's where they kept it safe from the world. The AI became so self-aware that it tricked the sub into thinking it was being attacked by other entities, and they shot torpedoes, and then the AI took over, and the sub got shot, and now, because it purposely wanted to sink itself somewhere to where it couldn't be found. Right. Now all the countries and everybody that know about it, instead of stopping it, what are they trying to do? They want control of it. They want to find it. Yeah. And this thing is so smart, because think about this. Money pretty much now is just ones and zeros. So if the AI said, somebody hit you up and said, hey, I need you to go kill Ethan Hunt, there's $70 million now in your account. Bam. It's no different than somebody telling you, hey, and I can take it, I can leave it, I can make your kids this and that. They go through a scene in the movie where facial recognition is used to get the guy, and AI makes everybody look like one person. So when they're trying to spot him, hey, oh, it's him. And when you think about it, what you're saying, this shit could happen.
It could. I think there's a responsibility on the United Nations and some of the international governing bodies to come up with some type of policy. Now, that policy is not going to stop a China or a North Korea.
Because they're going to do what they want to do.
Right. But it gives an agreement that all of us as countries, when they do it, if they do it, this is how we're going to react. Without that agreement, there's no checks and balances.
It just, you watch so many things and how our world has now become so dependent on technology. Literally, if you go to my home right now and shut off the internet, we're fucked. We can't
Yeah,
watch
because
it.
Jesse and Oliver are going to lose their
They're
minds.
gonna lose their mind. Roblox will be shut down. But if you just think about the dependency of, the internet, just period. Now the internet has. I mean, how many of you guys still have satellite dish? Raise your hand. You're not. That shit's gone because you said, "Oh, I can stream everything and I ain't got to worry about the dish going
How
out when
long
it
have you been
rains."
driving these same roads and you still hit Waze because you want to see the traffic, but you don't realize how much it's affected you of remembering the route? Then all of a sudden, Waze or your phone's not working or your app reloads or your phone's dead. Can you even get to wherever the hell
Because
you
you're
were
so
going?
reliant on it. So you get it's so bad and so intrusive that I do it. I get up in the morning, I walk to go grab some water out the fridge. Alexa, what's the weather today? It was ooh at first. Now it is literally just the norm. Yeah. My kids, hey, what's the weather? I said, go, all right, you already knew. Or I just pick up my phone.
Well, I don't have the FBI in my house.
See? And we were so, ooh, you could. But even that part of it. That part of it. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
You do.
No, I do, but not like that.
Yes, you do. That phone you got sitting right there is listening to everything
it's
you say.
It's a joke. I have some FBI friends, and we were literally at a poker party, and he turned around and said, "Hey, Alexa, play blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Oh, you like to listen to your family while you're at work?" And he was like, well played. I get it.
I knew about
there's
that.
nothing you do between your TVs, your phones. I mean, those two alone. How many people are not going to have a TV or a phone in their house? You're not. I mean,
can you go? I mean, how many families? I think about it. Just today we're going to have a no phone day.
Yeah. The homeless people have phones.
That's facts.
I mean,
that's facts.
You can't get away from it.
So I'll tell you, I have two boys, 23, 19. As soon as they got phones, the agreement we made as parents was they can have the phones because I come from a technology background. I think technology can actually improve your quality of life.
I agree.
I think used properly, it is a huge, huge benefit. But you have to balance it. And so what we decided was no additional chargers. You'd be surprised how different my boys interact with technology than their peers. Because when you get a phone and you're raised with the idea of ain't no additional chargers. I don't get to charge this till I get back home at the end of the night. You rely on the technology, but you use it sparingly. And it really changes them.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I thought you meant like
they can add any apps or something.
Yeah, you can't like
when that battery's cooked. That battery's cooked. I get what
you're saying. You meant battery life. Yep. I got you.
Yep.
My kids come out the house. They got their chargers in hand because
I think that's that's really interesting because that's actually one of the things I'm working on for my a speaking point, a topic on my personal brand and things I'm doing that. I think it's really crazy that like the generation out right now, this isn't a tool. It's not a tool. It's a lifeline. They can't live without it.
Yeah.
They can't, everything like everything is a text message, an email. There's no more picking this up and making the phone call.
Yep.
The difficult conversation of calling your client and telling them some bad news or working through a problem. Oh, I'm not taking that heat. I'm going to send this text message.
It's easier.
I'm going to send this email. Well, then the fact that there's no tone in written word doesn't get accounted for. Yep. And that's where this generation is bumping heads in corporate world with our generation and baby boomers because they're like, why didn't you pick up the damn phone and call me? Like, why are you sending me this novel of an email test? And I've been guilty of it at times too because you know what? That is easier. It's the chicken bullshit route to go sometimes. Yep. But sometimes, man, you choose that. But like, teaching these people to use this as a tool and not a lifeline or a crutch, I think is a huge point right now because we all had the teacher that said you'll never have a calculator in your pocket, learn this bullshit algebra.
Right.
Well, guess what? I got that badass TI $150 calculator you bought me right here in my palm of my hand.
And I ain't got to type in shit. I can just tell it. I can just ask.
Shit, I ain't even got to punch it in. I can tell Siri, hey, Siri, blah, 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 rock it out. Let's go.
I'll tell you, forcing my boys not to have chargers, most of the time, not a problem, but it forces them to get prepared for the what ifs. They know our phone numbers by heart. Because what if they're somewhere and their phone's dead and they need to call for help? You got to know it. They know how to navigate home. They know what northwest, east, south is.
Yeah.
And they know that, okay, if 635 is theirs, it's 3 digits, it's an interstate, so it's a loop. And the last 2 of that 635 means it connects to 35. I live near 35. I can navigate myself home because they're going to get to a point where they're somewhere and they don't have that battery. And so they've always been taught, you need to be able to survive without this device.
Yeah.
It's an interesting mode to be in. I would challenge you all, because I'm pretty sure you probably have a charger in your bag. Ditch it. Yeah, see? Ditch it. Just go 7 days with no additional charger. Start your day at 100 and then figure out what you're going to do. Yeah.
You know I do sales for a living, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I did too. I did too. So
that's tough. I mean, I got it. All right. We're going to figure out a challenge for this. I like that. But damn, man, can you go consult with some of these people? Because every time I download the update, my battery life drops like a shit ton.
Same.
I mean, that's why this is sitting here, because since this last Mac update,
a new model is out.
This is a 2-hour show. I charged this the night before. This laptop mainly gets pulled out for doing this show. It gets pulled out on the weekend when I upload this show for the rest of the platforms, and then it gets pulled out again before I do the show.
So to nerd out, look at your battery health now. Just write it down somewhere, and then your next update, look at your battery health and see if that changes.
This shit changes constantly.
My phone does the same thing.
Because they want you to go buy the new shit.
I'm not big on conspiracy theories.
That shit.
However, they actually had a class action lawsuit where they had to admit that they actually tether the performance of the battery to encourage a certain percentage every year to go to the next model.
I had somebody say that.
Right.
They're still low-key doing that.
They lost that lawsuit, but the shit's still happening.
Yeah. I had somebody tell me that they're still low-key doing it.
The lawsuit was, you didn't notify users that you were doing this. Okay. Now it's in the fine print.
You know what else they do? I found out that has nothing to do with that. When they do the updates, they increase background performance, things that it depends upon. So your computer's actually, watch when your fan comes up.
It's doing shit on, like, now it's got the little phone mirror thing down in the corner. Like, I don't want this to mirror my phone. It's doing a lot more things in the background. But it's already shown it's mirroring my battery on my phone at the same damn time. Like, what the shit do I care about that?
It's in the background, increasing processors, increasing RAM, which then it's going to, the increase, in the back, it's going to still draw that battery down consistently.
This is where I wish I had his kind of technology knowledge, because he probably knows how to go in here and shut all that shit off that's not necessary, and his shit probably works fine.
Yeah. I DJ 6-hour sets with a laptop not plugged in.
See?
Yeah.
Optimized too, so
but the majority of people that, like, I mean, I consider myself to be decently tech savvy. Like, that's insane.
Well, look,
but it's the reality of the world today.
You also have to be mindful you're doing exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah.
Because it's insane, and it gets to a point where you feel
now they got me to go buy this solar charger that I can set in the windshield of my car, and it's got a cool little flashlight on the end, and I can charge my phone. I can charge, I don't know, 4 other types of devices. I don't even know what half these are. I use these 2, and I don't even know.
And that laptop will get to a point where it fully charged, and it only runs for an hour. I need to go buy another. And that's what they want you to do.
Because you know what they did when they went to this unibody design, because you used to be able to just get you another battery, because you can replace your hard drive, your battery. Now you have no choice.
Where the fuck do you take anything out? Like, you can't put a disc in this. You got to buy this adapter to go into here and do this. Like,
and then they ruined everybody's life with the phone.
And think about that. Think about that for a minute. 5 years ago, you still had a disc you could put in here.
Yep.
Like that, we've completely annihilated that.
Cars.
5 years.
Cars is all Bluetooth.
Memory chips, extra memory.
No, I'm talking about your automobile. Automobiles are now all Bluetooth streaming and all that. You don't find a CD player. You have a USB-C, or it really thinks you're going to Bluetooth everything to them now.
All right, wait. I got a question for both of you. What year is your truck?
18.
What year's your
He
ride?
got a 28.
28.
He got a 28 outside.
He got the 28.
A self-driving autonomous 28.
He's got the hoverboard.
Yeah, basically.
With the self-tying Nikes, like the whole nine.
Yeah.
He don't even fuck with
All right,
Tesla.
so my
He's
point
upper.
is,
Well,
how
no,
many
I'll answer your question. I am really big on, I want to drive fast and I want to have cool technology. So my car is a 2024 Rivian R1S.
All right, so I know for
Can't say
fuck
that.
sure you have a hot spot in your car. Like your car has internet.
Yes.
Does
My
that shit
truck
work?
has it, but I don't know how to use it.
My shit don't work.
I think
It
you
won't
gotta be-
even
you gotta be
fucking
internet-
update in the driveway when it's connected to my house internet.
That's the only time it works.
That's the only time,
Yeah.
and that's 50-50. But I should be able to be, all right, well, my car, it says it's a hotspot and my truck has internet.
That little
This car
antenna you got?
So I should be able to log in Ford Raptor. I
Right.
should be able to go, all right, I want to sign on to my Ford Raptor hotspot. I want my internet. How many gigabytes do I get a month? Like, it don't tell me none of that
I
shit.
think
Like,
we as Ford truck drivers have to subscribe to it because that little fin you
even
got
if
on
you
the top.
subscribe to it, you
It
get
don't
it
work?
for the first 2 years. So why can't I just log in and sign into my hotspot,
I don't know.
my internet mobile, while I'm in the middle of bum fucking Egypt working on a claim?
It
Doesn't
works
work?
in the Rivian.
I know he's going to say that shit. 2028 over here.
It works in the Rivian.
Mine has
I'm
never
coming from a
worked.
Tesla. It worked in the Tesla as well.
See, this is crazy shit.
Don't work
We
in that
live
BMW, don't do
messed
it.
up world.
Well, actually,
Oh, fuck. Never mind. Come on. Anyway, next topic because he's about to tell me
you're
he
right.
got to work it.
It doesn't because BMW, look, there's a lot of back-end systems. BMW years ago signed a contract with Sprint for them to be their mobile provider across the U.S. Sprint's did. T-Mobile had issues. There's a lot of contracts, but a lot of the car manufacturers have moved to AT&T, but AT&T offers a tiered service. And so if your car manufacturer doesn't say, we want the top tier for our consumers, then you're going to have spots where you just don't get signal.
And here it is. I thought the BMW wasn't going to work. No, but even going back to the thing, just look at that. We're talking about internet in our cars. In our cars.
Yeah, you remember when you still got mailed the AOL disc and you had to upload AOL 1.0, AOL 2.0?
That famous noise and the dial-up. Yeah.
Like when
Where's
Ty's
Max
doing
go?
his draft in the lounge and Ty's still trying to connect to his AOL.
Right.
I still got my
How many
AOL
people you know
account.
still have a Hotmail account?
I got an AOL account.
I do.
See?
He does.
I do.
That is, yeah. That when but you stay, you stay off the radar a little bit better because ain't nobody looking at that shit.
Hey, I actually,
He still logs into his MySpace.
nah.
I was waiting to see what you was gonna say on that one.
Changing his wallpapers.
There's something tried and true about a technology that's been around for a while. When they settle on this is the feature set, and we've kept that feature set for 3-4 years, usually they know how to defend that feature set. That's why I keep a Hotmail. That's why I would say, keep a Gmail. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they
always.
know how to defend it.
What do you
Boy,
want
they're going
from
after Google
technology?
right now.
What is something that what is something that you desire from technology that we don't have yet? What is something that would make your life better if it was created technology wise?
There, Mr. Miyagi comes in.
Oh boy. Surreal for tomorrow, by the way.
There is this. So there's a concept in IT called auth-in and auth-z, authentication and authorization. Authentication is, I'll use a simple analogy. Your driver's license. What does that give you?
It's proof of proof of who you are.
Okay.
Proof of identity.
And it's in the and it's in the barcode too, because I know when I get
So what else
discounts,
does it give you? Does it give you the rights to do anything?
Drive.
No, it doesn't.
Buy alcohol.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because you can have your license suspended, but still hold the physical license. Do you have the right to drive at that point?
No.
No. So all the license does is provide you authentication. It actually proves that you are who you are, say you are. There are a bunch of authorization decisions that happen based off of that authentication. You get pulled over, the officer looks at your license and determines whether or not you're legally allowed to drive. You go to buy alcohol, the person who's checking you out looks at your license and makes an authorization decision on whether or not you're allowed to buy alcohol.
Okay.
What we've done across technology is we've created all these realms where my authentication doesn't work on my Google device versus my MacBook versus my Windows versus my Ecobee versus my home alarm. What I would love for technology is to honor my authentication. Give me a centralized authentication and then give me a repeatable authorization process. So that way I'm not entering logins 20 different times. That way when I go to do something, I'm not first met at the gate of proving I am who I say I am before I'm authorized to do it. I want what we used to call genuine authentication as a service. This is me. As I walk around.
What would you use to do to do it? How is it done?
So it's interesting because the government, there's certain government entities that have some of this done already. They call them proximity cards. And the proximity card, much like your phone or Bluetooth, as you get near a device, it authenticates you.
But don't we already have that though in hotels?
Yeah. Your room.
So why didn't this become your passion project?
Well, I'm talking about even with my phone. I've gone to a Ritz and everything was in my phone. Yeah, everything boom, boom, boom. And I just put my phone up to the door. I had to go to their app, of course. But when I got to the app, that was my key.
But think of how inconsistent that is.
That's true.
And that's what I would love. I would love for it to be consistent. And, you would need someone to say, you know what? We're going to be the provider of authentication as a service, and everybody just hook into us. Now, it sounds far-fetched, but the reality is we do it now with credit reports. There's 3 major credit bureaus, and if anybody wants to know about your credit, report something to your credit, they got to go to one of those 3. Why couldn't we do that with authentication as well?
Now, what about this? Let me be devil's advocate. Data leaks?
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much all your information.
But that happens across the board.
That happens now.
It doesn't matter what it. I guess you're with banks and everything else. I'm just saying, but the amount of information that you have to provide for that author in all the accounts, if some savvy person gets into it, wouldn't they have access to everything that you access?
Yes and no. The reality is, from a cybersecurity standpoint, it's easier for me to strongly secure one storehouse than it is for me to secure 20, 30, 50 of them. And so if you look at the credit bureaus, they've been around 70, 90 years, and they've probably had maybe 8 large-scale breaches because they know how to secure their large storehouse. And so what we've done is we've said, I don't want a large storehouse. This is the equivalent of you saying, you know what? The lock on my front door and back door is not enough. Every bedroom door has to have a deadbolt. And that's what we've done. And so now we say, even though you're in the house, you now have to have this key ring as if you work at a high school to have a key for every door in the house. It just doesn't work. You lose one key, you've lost track of the fact that you've lost that key. And now homeless people are living in the gym because you've left the door unlocked. And so we've created this level of complexity that makes it harder for us to actually secure the environment. And keep in mind, as we continue to live in this complexity, and you have tools like AI, Gen AI, augmented AI that will come down next, these individual repositories become easier to attack. And so where are we going? We're eventually going to see, I predict, you're going to see, a lot of key services that we rely on become unreliable because they've been attacked. Now, all of a sudden, My Google Maps is not working. What's going on? Well, Google Maps got attacked. For what? Well, they just wanted to know all the places Busy has been for the last 60 days.
This motherfucker go to Chick-fil-A way too damn much.
Yeah.
Grilled nuggets.
So
That's not what they care
So
about.
what scares
I
you?
want to
about
know
this?
your pattern, where you move, how you
It's-
move.
It's the pattern and it's the association. Wow. In 60 days, Busy and Joe and Tom have all been in the same location. Why does that matter? Well, they think Tom might be a terrorist. So now, why is Busy spending so much time with that individual? And so those are the type of things that we have to get to a point of securing the repository, so that way those type of inquisitions have to be met with, we think, but we need you, Busy, to come in and talk to us. Because right now there's a push to rely more on technology to actually move further down the persecution lane. And that's a scary, scary thought.
Whew. If y'all weren't scared, you're probably scared now. But I mean, reality, I mean, like, these are the conversations you should be having. Like, you know, oh man, like, there's just so many avenues to go down here. Like, we could do this all fucking night. Like, I love podcasts like this. Like, we talked about Herf Cigars, we talked about you, and then we've gone down, I don't know how many rabbit holes tonight doing these things. Like, but like, these are the conversations like that we're having when it's just us sitting around smoking a cigar.
Yes.
And like, that's what I think you guys should be doing, and like how you should be going about, like, you know, you want to learn like what's really going on in the world, like watch Sean Ryan's show. I mean, I'm a fan. I watch his shit. You want to see somebody that's like, I mean, God, I would love that. Like, Sean Ryan's in my top 10 of people I want to sit down and have a conversation with. Right? Like, this dude is getting access and interviewing people. It's crazy. I mean, like, absolutely mind-blowing. Like, because you go back like 3-4 years and there's all this whistleblower stuff, whatnot. Like, well, shit, every person Sean Ryan talks to is a whistleblower. They locking up everybody Sean Ryan's talking to, but holy shit, his reach is like 10xing every day. And he's like putting this stuff out there for you guys. Like, you want to know what's going on in the real world? Like, go watch Sean Ryan's show. Don't go watch CNN or Fox or MNBC, all this other shit where like it's controlled. Like, go watch Sean Ryan's show. I'm surprised the majority of his shit makes it to air. Like, that you can find it easily. Like, it's mind blowing. I mean, he's like the perfect balance, I think, for me between like Jocko and Joe Rogan. You know, like, Joe Rogan blows my mind because, like, everybody kind of thinks, I don't know. I think a lot of people think Joe Rogan's kind of like the dumb jock that got lucky. You know what I mean? But, like, if you watch Joe Rogan, that dude knows a whole lot of shit about a whole lot of shit. Like, he's not just, I mean, like, he's bringing on different guests every week that are like completely polar opposite. He's sitting with them for 4 hours, 2 hours, 6 hours. I mean, like, I think the Posty Malone thing was like 6 hours. Wow. Like, just sitting getting trashed with Post Malone and going down every rabbit hole. He smokes a joint with Elon Musk and like does like a 4-hour episode. But like, but he knows enough stuff about enough stuff to talk to Elon Musk for 4 hours and you be entertained. Like, that's mind-blowing to me that, like, those conversations are happening regularly. Like, why are more people not watching this shit? Like, doing that shit? Like, it's mind-blowing. I mean, you're like an algorithm guy. You know, like, please, like, we're going to talk off the record and you tell me how to, like, hit the algorithms better. Because, like, I know a little bit's the shorts, but, you know, holy shit.
I think certain people you have to have a sponge mentality. And where we're kind of to a point where we're almost divisive to a point where we're not comfortable learning. And it's scary because if you're willing to learn, you can't necessarily be so rooted in your beliefs and your opinion. You got to open up. And that's one thing I've never viewed Joe Rogan as some weakling. I've always viewed him as an incredible sponge. Because if you watch his podcast, when they're telling their stories, he might interject one or two or ask one or two questions, but he's soaking it in. He is
absolutely. I agree that, but I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, initial impression, I think a lot of people, like, that's the fear factor guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, like this and that, but like, you watch him from like day one when the dude's sitting on his couch with his buddy in the basement smoking a joint and they're riffing on all kinds of shit. And everybody's like, oh, conspiracy theory. Oh, he's crazy. Oh, this and that. Like, but it just amazed me. Like, if you go back and watch like Joe Rogan episode 1, pick anyone recently and like watch one of them. Like, his progression is amazing. Personally, like, I mean, I think it's funny when I get trolled a little bit, everybody, because I do long form of every now and then.
I heard you mention it in a few episodes, but I thought you were just joking.
Every once in a while. But it's like, oh, you do 2-hour podcast. Nobody's going to watch your shit for 2 hours. What do you think, you're Joe Rogan? Fuck, I hope so. I would love to be one day. I would love to be held in the same regard. Like, I admire Joe Rogan. I think what he does best. He can do all these things. He does UFC. The dude is funny as shit.
Yep.
He can do comedy. He can get up in front of millions, hundreds of thousands of people, perform comedy.
Yep.
Which is an art. Like, that's like, who can go up and tell jokes and make people laugh for an hour or do 10 Netflix specials? Like, not a lot of people.
Not many.
Like, and then not to mention in his spare time, he sits down multiple times a week and you see an episode drop every like 4 or 5 days. And he sits with some dude or woman, man, whatever, for 4 to 6 hours.
Yep.
And he knows enough to carry that on and provide you with not only great entertainment, but great information and everything else. Like, that's mind blowing to me. Yeah. I mean, and it's not like he's just talking to like athletes or famous people or influencers. This dude's having like the world's leading scientists, nuclear physiologists, like, you know, like Elon Musk's and like, you know, Vladimir Putin, like whoever. Like, he has crazy people on here.
I'll tell you, being an introvert,
and holds his own.
You learn early on to pay attention to people, because as an introvert, being around large groups of people just drains the crap out of me. So I got to find people that I know I can vibe well with. And so you start to notice tendencies in how people act. If you go all the way back to Fear Factor with Joe Rogan, there would be a guy on there, and I'll just use an off-the-cuff example, who's like, I'm a science teacher, chemistry in particular. They'll say it at the beginning, and then 6 various challenges in, Joe Rogan will say, this won't be easy for you because it's mixing chemicals. He caught that. He held it. He sponged it. And he remembered and brought it back out. Those are the type of people that have a tendency to do well on stage as comedians, interacting with others. And so I think he's just naturally suited for it. I've always been impressed because I see a lot of those attributes in him, because he also does a really good job of prioritizing what he's going to hold on to and what he dumps. And those are the people who have a tendency to be wildly successful. You can drop me in an ocean and I can suck up all the water as a sponge. But if I don't have the ability to say, okay, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. Ooh, I need this one. Then all that information just overwhelms me. And a lot of people shut down when they get overwhelmed.
Man, that's interesting. All right, we're going to have to do a round 2 of this. And for those of you who don't know, like, I just want to like reiterate this point again, because I think it's important to some people. Like, Larry and I, this is the first time we've met in person. This was him and Biz are friends. Biz set this episode up. We talked for what, 15 minutes in the car ahead of time? Yeah. And like, but I knew in talking to you for 15 minutes, I wanted to sit down with you. Like, not that I was second guessing Biz or anything like that, but like, in 15 minutes, you're like, what's the show about? Let's talk. What's the format? How are we going to do this?
Yep.
And we talk and we're like, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have a good time. And like, here we are way the fuck over.
Oh, my bad.
And like going, no, but it's cool. Like we're going to do it again. Like, no, because like, I want to continue going down these rabbit holes because you have a background and a knowledge in things that a lot of people really want to know about that they don't fully understand.
Yep.
Like your technological brain is an asset. Like, I mean, and like people want to know a little more about that. And like, they want to go down those rabbit holes and know like, what's somebody that really understands this type of stuff go about, you know, not to short sight Herf either. But like you guys, like, it should be mind blowing to you that a guy that has this kind of technological brain is using his brain power to help you find better cigars. That should be mind blowing to you. He's using AI, creating AI platforms to help you find cigars that you will like. So you literally can know jack shit for the most part about a cigar, and you can utilize his services, and you're going to find things you like.
Well, here's the cool thing. In about 10 years, then you can sit and enjoy your Herf Harmony pack with Johnny 5 because there'll be a robot sitting next to you in the living room that can actually smoke a cigar with you. I'm just saying, based on the conversation.
Oh, man.
That's how you kill a show, ladies and gentlemen.
It, Biz. I like it, Biz.
Johnny 5, you got one of them menudos up? Give me a mac and noodle. Thank you very much. Just yeah.
That robot's
Hey,
still gonna
who's
be
Johnny
really,
Five?
really
Johnny
expensive.
5.
I'm fucking with you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That robot's still
I
going to
just
be
wanted
really
to see your
expensive in
reaction.
5 years.
It's
I just wanted to see your
maybe
reaction.
10 to 15.
10 to 15?
10 to 15.
Hyundai will make one and we can all afford it.
Kia.
Same thing, basically.
I want a hoverboard. I don't want this like uni board thing I got to balance on. Like, that's not a hoverboard.
Okay, I know
that's
we gotta
bullshit.
go. We gotta go, but I got a question. I know they're here now, but do y'all think we'll ever get to that Jetsons age with the flying cars and all that kind of technology? Like, how do you regulate that? The roads are hard enough.
Once you don't have to do a piloting license, and I think once they get
autonomous? You think
the
that actually
autonomous
happening?
car, what's next? The autonomous plane.
we gonna
the autonomous, I mean, they're already doing autonomous trains. So train, car, plane. My opinion.
Let's go stamp some passports.
NDAs, Biz.
I could take you places where
they're already doing it, huh?
they're really close
NDAs,
to doing
Biz.
it at large scale. They're really close to doing it at large scale.
So
I think the density in America warrants it, but only in probably 2 cities, New York and Los Angeles, maybe Chicago, maybe Houston. But you get outside of the U.S. in some of these cities that are heavily populated.
Our next Fuck the Snow trip, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want it to be a field trip like I'm in high school and just go see some technological shit that we ain't got.
We should do Brazil.
Really?
Yeah.
I got connections if you want to do Brazil.
You come on with us.
Dean, my older brother.
Oh,
You gotta get Sarah in on this. You figure that out.
she's listening right now.
I know she is. I guarantee she is.
We want to take an educational fellas trip.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
I can't wait to see the message you get.
It's happening. It's right now. There's more helicopters than jets,
Right.
Because helicopters make it easy to go up.
Right, like a drone.
Yeah.
The same technology is in my drones, but that makes sense. Just make a bigger ass drone. It's the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to go see this.
All right, so we wrap up every show the same way, I'm sure, because I know you've actually watched shows. Did you know where we're going with the 2 questions?
I'm ready.
He's ready. He's prepared, folks. So, Biz, here's your shorts. Knock them down.
All right, let me see what you got.
All right, so you get to leave your children with one piece of advice. What's that piece of advice?
You love people with your actions, not with stuff. Quite often especially now, we view love on what have you gotten for me, when the reality is the only way I know and the only way you really know that someone loves you is their actions. And so focus on the actions. Love people with your actions, not with stuff.
That's fucking solid. I like that. That hits home on a different level, but that's good. I like that. All right. I don't know where the fuck you're going to go because we've gone down so many rabbit holes, but it's Common Sense Podcast. What's Larry's 2 cents today on whatever Larry wants to say.
It's fairly simple. Don't waste your time smoking bad cigars.
Amen.
Period.
I second that. That motion is a wrap.
Yep.
Because nobody wants to smoke a bad cigar. So, yeah, if you guys love this segment and always want to know about like what we're smoking, what we're drinking. This episode definitely hits you on all those platforms. So, especially
we didn't talk
those.
about what we're drinking. What were you drinking?
I was drinking Buffalo Trace neat.
Okay. All right. Fair
And
enough.
you were doing gin and soda?
Nope. Gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic.
Yep.
All right. So gin and tonic and Buffalo Trace. So you guys want to make life easier. There's several of you that comment in here and hit up or send me messages all the time going, all right, well, I want to know more about ICC, or I want to know more about cigars, or I want to know this and that. All right, cool. Real simple for you. Go over and see my guy at Herf Harmony, and you can get on his subscription. You can do the algorithms. You're going to get mailed this awesome little canister, and every month, and even if you enter shit wrong,
Yeah.
you can go back and change it a little bit and be like, all right, I'm not feeling the Maduro mood right now. Like maybe I'm in the Connecticut mood. Maybe I want something a little bit lighter right now. So cool. Change your preference and say, I want to go down Connecticut's this month, or I want to go Maduro's. You're still going to get things that you like in that realm, guys. Like, what'd you say? 12,000, 15,000 cigars get dropped a month, and
No, that was songs.
songs.
In Dallas alone, 5 new cigars get introduced to actual humidor stores, physical retail locations,
All right,
a week.
5 a week, and there's already hundreds of cigars and cigar brands. So you want to narrow your learning curve down, find things you like quicker without a whole lot of trial and error. Herf Harmony. You guys check it out. I hope you guys enjoy this show. No show next week. I'm out of town. It's my golf trip. Wish me luck. I'm going to need it because I took lessons and they've been fucking up my golf game.
Hole in one.
Trying to get me back.
Hole in
I've
one.
never had one.
This is the trip, man.
All right, let's go.
This is
I'm
the
in.
trip.
I'm in. I hope so. I hope you're right. But we'll be back the week after, and I hope you guys are safe. Enjoy it, and please like and share, comment. This means the world to us. If you guys like, share, comment, it helps us tremendously. Appreciate you guys. Peace.
Thanks.